Okay, welcome to the Newbie Club, another festival edition where we highlight the top 10 finalists from Nukhufest. I'm Sanjay, the founder of Nuku, and I'm joined by another 2025 finalists, Terrence Franklin, Tangelia Rouse, Jeffrey George Moline, composer. Tangelia and Terrence are producers on the short film titled Grandpa's Got a Brand New Pill. How are you all doing today?
We're wonderful.
Doing all right.
Yes.
That's great. So, why don't one of you tell us about your film?
I guess I will, because I was kind of the driver of this project. It's all my fault. It's a story that involves my mother, who was 80 at the time and had lived, 50 years with my father. And we weren't close. So when she called me, I thought maybe somebody else other than my father had passed. But she said, I don't want to be alone the rest of my life. Been practicing Buddhism for 30 years now. And my first thought was, Mother, you don't have to be alone the rest of your life. And she was going to give up because she couldn't find somebody. And she finally met a man and they fell in love and she had romance, etc. But he also took too many Viagra and ended up in the hospital thinking he was having a heart attack. So the song came from that. And then the story, I made up a story around it and told it through the film of Tootie, a woman who's on the verge of turning 96 in her daycare, her facility that she lives in, Shady Nook, old folks home. And she's kind of in a rebellion. She wants to celebrate her birthday her way. She wants a happy ending and she's causing havoc. So I wanted to show older people. I'm 66, a senior citizen, almost 2 months.
But you look good.
Thank you. Oftentimes our stories, we are not the driver of the story that we're in. We're at the effect of something or we're scared to move forward with our lives. And that has not been my experience of my compatriots my own age. Yeah.
Wow, what a beautiful origin story and a compelling inspiration. The fact that you had so many people in your community that were willing to help you tell it, because it was so well done. I mean, it's hilarious, and the level of production. You worked with another director, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, unfortunately, Jacob couldn't be here with us. We were trying to get him to be able to be here, but he couldn't be here. But he's a great director.
Oh my God, he is so amazing. So for the three of us producing together, we weren't skilled at this. So working with Jacob, it was almost like a little film school for us. And we would do things with, like, oh, we have to find a location. Oh my God, this is how you find a location. This is how you make a movie. Guys, we're making a movie together. Oh my God, this is so much fun. This is so exciting. He also, when he read the script, he enjoyed it and he fell in love with Tootie. The Tootie in our story is our dear friend Brenda, and she allows us to call her Tootie. And I kind of wanted a love letter for her in the story to just be the center of attention and the star.
And
I love that.
if I could say something about Jacob
Sure, please.
and the just the I guess the how
Flow of it all.
everything flew, just the flow together. We have always been family. Like we were like family first. And these guys, we have a 12-year-old who they've known her since she was born
We're
or
the
even an
Gunkles.
idea. We have always been a collective of an older generation who never stopped creating. It
Right.
wasn't about,
Right,
can we
yeah.
get this show picked up? Can we get this? It wasn't. And so we would get together and create things, do shows at theaters, my husband is a composer and musician. We do live shows just because it was a way of creating and generating that energy. And Jacob was our music engineer, myself and my husband's. And so
Him first.
Ringo, my husband, actually introduced the two of them to Jacob because they were recording. They wanted to go record music. And, Jacob is a jack of all trades and he plays several instruments and he's been music engineer for Stevie Wonder and like it's a lot of different people, but he's extremely young.
Berkeley music grad,
He's in his 30s, but he's very tapped in. He's a very like mature and old soul. And so when that started to happen, he actually got really excited about the material that they were recording. And then when Jeffrey was like, oh, well, we want to shoot something, Jacob was like, well, I've got a whole crew. And that I do that too. And so, like, there's no such thing as coincidence. And we started a collective called Bend the Arc of History Towards Justice. We call it the Bend the Arc Collective, which came from a project that Terry has been working on as well. But that is the engine of our creativity. This is how we kind of live every day in order to keep ourselves in a space of living.
Right.
It's a form of resistance.
Yes.
Especially in this moment of time.
Yes. Yes. We have to keep creating. People are protesting. They're out in the streets. For me, even just as a Black woman, there's so much trauma. There's so much trauma that I find myself overwhelmed to a point where, you know, my nervous system is like, I need to go, I need to get out and protest, but I'm overwhelmed. And what we realized is that creating this art, that is how we fight. That is the resistance. Anything in itself that can create or perpetuate joy is a revolutionary act. Period.
Thank you for that additional context, Tangelia. I think it's so beautiful that you have been able to surround yourself with so many talented people in support of that mission,
Yep.
and you created this engine, like you said. So I'm curious, what are some of the challenges that you faced while making this project, as kind of getting your toes wet into this new venture?
May I tell on myself?
Absolutely.
This will be fun.
The back of my head.
The back of your head story.
I had to get over the back of my head. There was this wonderful shot. I was like, that's the back of my head. Oh, it's the back of my head. But, it was the back of my head.
We got in the first roughs from
Right. It
from
took a
Jacob.
minute for me. I had to be
A
like,
minute, a day, 2 days. And it was like, we can't do this. It's no
The back
good.
of my head.
The whole thing's bad. I'm like, well, before you take the step of just canceling the whole project, let's just give it a moment. Let's breathe through it. Let's give some changes to Jacob, and we'll have a producers conference. And we went and sat and talked and watched it together with.
Yeah, we watched it together. It was like, I was crazy.
And he
But
just had
I
to
have
get
to
over
say,
it.
but he's kind of skipping over. There's a deeper element to this. Now,
Yeah,
I
I'm
know,
missing some context.
yeah, people will hear, oh, back of the head. Well, what is he? Well, your head's fine. Throughout that week, what began to happen is Jeffrey was able to come to a space where he could tap into, where is this annoyance or where is this grievance with the back of my head really coming from? And this is what's so crazy. And crazy in a great way, when you have a supporting crew, when you have a collective around you that says, you know what, it's okay to be in the space that you're in, we're with you, then they're able to hear themselves. And what he was able to realize was that there was a deeper thing. He tapped into a deep childhood trauma,
Right? Over the back of my head.
from when he was a child, where he felt like he couldn't stand up for himself. And so him feeling a certain way about Awesomely Bodacious, which is a character that he created to, I think, be the manifestation of
Express
his
that.
strength, he was like, who's going to take care of Awesomely
Yes.
Bodacious? Who's going to? And the more we started to actually dialogue about it, the more the back of the head thing started to dissipate.
To the
And
back of his head.
yes. And when you create something, you actually see it in real time, it can be a little scary, because then it's like, oh no, I'm really going to put myself out there. And in turn, putting his self out there actually gave him an opportunity to address some internal childhood stuff that was happening that we just didn't know was going to come up. You just never know. So I think that's also what we mean by the fight. When you can change something internally, the rest of your environment changes because you're different. And so I feel like it wasn't just the back of his head. It
Right.
was a deeper
It was a deeper thing.
situation, but it was beautiful to
Sure.
watch.
You see,
So
the people that I hang out with, they're all like this.
We're all
So,
Buddhists. Just
right.
Buddhists walking around.
So it's never just about the back of your head.
no, I think that's beautiful. There's definitely an analogy there for personal growth and for the transformation that goes on when you're taking on this new venture, where you're stepping into different roles, and you're
Yes.
leading a new team, and you have to kind of, especially acting and directing or producing, wearing so many hats. There's a lot of ego that you have to reckon with, and I think that's definitely an interesting challenge to bring up as kind of the leader of this project.
Letting go.
And I know Jacob, if Jacob were here, he would talk about the fact that I think the last scene that we were shooting was completely done without sound, and he didn't realize it. I guess one of the packs that he had completely ran out of juice. And so he kind of had a little bit of like a what moment, and had to go back and basically do all like an AR, like had to the dialogue and the sounds and so that was an interesting challenge.
But it's resiliency, that's the
It's
thing about
resilience.
the moment and our lives and being creative is something happens, you figure out how to deal with it,
Yeah.
and then you make it. It's what is it? What is the Japanese kitsugi? The Japanese concept when you the broken cup that is mended with gold, and those spots where those seams are mended is strength and all of the
It is.
power of having gone through that crisis and come to something different. And I think that's part of, all of this story, all of it's Tootie's story, it's Awesome's
is.
story, it's
Your
coming
mother's
through
story.
your
Everybody's
mother's.
story. I mean, the set was primarily, it was a majority senior citizens over the age of, I mean, you were the babies of
I'll be 62 the
Some,
weekend of Nuku.
yes.
Wow, birthday celebration.
right? We're so excited to be there.
Yeah. So
I've lived here in LA for 45 years now, and just persisting and staying here is a wonderful achievement. But the people, my friendships that I have had, all of those people on the set, many of them I've known for 30 some years. And so I thought of them when I was writing a character. I'd be like, hey, can you play this kind of a character? Yeah, okay, and I would write a bit for those people to be in. So they were all of our friends from our community were stepped forward, and
energy.
And-
Energy.
You could definitely pick up on that. You could definitely see that there are kind of multiple stories within the story. And I appreciate that because it really builds out the world of the song. It really makes it much more bigger than the song itself,
Right.
which I think it's a very immersive, music video. As the producers of this project, kind of leading the creative, I think the creative vision as a trio, are there specific influences or like would you say there are styles of directors or references that you use to help create this project?
Well, this is all your baby, came from your heart.
I love movies. When I grew up on
You can get that
I don't know if you can hear the helicopter going by, but I grew up on a dirt road on a farm outside of Austin, Minnesota, where they make Spam, the meat product.
Wow.
And winters could be quite desolate. And there was one channel who would play movies from 11 to 12, and there would be old Hollywood comedy movies every Saturday night. And I would stay up and I would watch those old movies. And I just had a love for Hollywood and Hollywood lore. And it used to be, we would go walking and be like, oh, that's where so-and-so hung themselves, or that's, all of the stories of the people who've lived in this area. I think always in my mind, there was also Indian influence in this because there's an Indian restaurant down the street that we just love. The food there is delicious, and they always have a wonderful Indian movie on. And there's always, it seems like no matter what the movie is, there's a fantastic, colorful, vibrant musical number.
Very
Sure.
Hollywood,
Right.
the big dance numbers in the middle.
And so as soon as I said pink suit and red dress for Tootie, the three of us were like, I guess in movies, they design things, so let's design a look for everybody to have.
Okay, that definitely comes through. I think those are great influences to share. You've talked about how you had some personal transformation and growth. I'm curious, did making this project, this film, change you at all as filmmakers? Are there anything that you can say you learned after having gone through this experience that you'd like to share?
Learned that I love it, and we're working on another project. I want to continue doing this, seeing the impact on our players, seeing the impact of this opportunity on Brenda's life and how she's booked another gig. She's,
Nice.
Alan, in his late 70s, is kind of petering out for him. He's in a construction work. He's looking to reinvent himself, and he's like, I'm going to get an agent and get some headshots. And so it's opened up.
He won Best Actor in one of the
He
festivals
did.
we've been to.
Yeah, Alan Silverman, he was the love
He's
interest.
Tootie's love
He
interest.
played the love interest.
And she's won back that Best Actress in another festival too.
So they have, they sashay a little different now.
Right?
Of course.
And that, if that was the only thing that we got out of this project, we won. Like, period. Like, does it change how you move through life in the present? And so now them talking about future things is inspiring. It's inspiring to me. I just turned 50. I don't look it. I know I don't look it.
Black don't crack.
Like, black don't crack. But also, that's the way I feel. I feel the same as when I was 19. I was a very brilliant 19.
I could definitely sense a youthful spirit here. I love it. I love that in the energy of the project. I love that in the spirit and the transformations and the learnings afterwards. Those new learnings are being repurposed to reinvent new life. I love all of that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything specific? When you watch this film, you watch this music video, it's got a lot of humor elements to it. And I'm curious if there's any particular message or anything specific you want people to take away after having watched it.
This moment on, life is fun. We're here for this moment to enjoy this body that we're living. And so have a good time, enjoy it, especially facing all the things that are challenges to us. We have to find joy in these moments, and we have to find ways to use culture and art to tell stories that reflect who we are and our experience, because people are happy to erase us. And Tootie wouldn't be erased. That's what we're about. So I think it's about all of that.
In creating a society that supports that,
Value.
Creating value. We start in the beginning of this in a retirement facility that is built on an old ideology that when you age, you don't know what you want anymore. You don't know how to handle
And how
yourself.
dare you be sexual?
And how dare you be sexual?
How dare you fully express your humanity until the very last moment?
Exactly. And so the message is, do not go quietly into the night. Okay? Do not succumb to this, because it's not the truth. We are examples of it. And the more we show this film, hopefully it shines a light for other people to say, you know what? Yeah, no, I don't have to just, go to sleep at 8:00 because my, daughter-in-law said I need my sleep. Well, I feel really energetic right now, and I think I want to go out and I want to write a book. I want to still function.
Make a movie.
The way that make a freaking movie. I want to make a movie. So, let's change how society sees aging.
I love that. Those are beautiful takeaways. So with that, I'm curious also, how do you see the landscape in terms of opportunities for independent filmmakers?
Well, I was just with my wonderful husband at the Black Harvard alumni event, and how wonderful to have been a guest at this event and listen to keynote speakers like Justice Jackson, wonderful people. They had a discussion on the entertainment industry. It's right now they're saying develop a niche audience. Well, there really isn't a lane for senior citizens, right? There really isn't kind of an organically fun thing happening where we get to go out. And so that could be it. But we have to be authentic. So it's just being ourselves, being authentic, and to continue to create. I'm not going to focus on whether I'm so happy that people love this, by the way.
Right.
To sit in an audience in the dark and listen to people laugh. And oh my God, to have someone come up to me afterwards and say, oh, I loved the line. It was rumored she was seen leaving early last Sunday from church. That's rain in the desert, But I can't focus on making these. I have 4 other projects I want to shoot. So it'd be like a big thing of interactive music videos or whatever it was, Sanjay, that you had mentioned earlier, where they tell stories that are going to help people move forward. The next story is going to be all about how an inner transformation and a change of a person's character can transform the entire world. And It's featuring awesomely, and it's going to be all the same people because it's our community. So it's going to be something authentic and real.
That's great, Jeffrey. You know, create a niche. That's perfect advice, especially for independent filmmakers right now. An over-competitive and saturated market. Finding out those things that speak true to you and kind of leaning more into those things. I think that's an excellent take on the industry. So, you know, what are you all going to be working on next?
Well, Two Tears in a Bucket.
That's the next song that Jeffrey's been working on to gear up for.
But we also have a very serious project that we're working on. We have a documentary we just shot.
Yeah. Serious but fun. I've also practiced law by day, but I'm doing creative projects any other time. And, you know, on the point of what happens in industry, for us, it's creating something and telling a story because we have to tell the story, and having faith that the audience will find the story because the stories are authentic and true. So I'm also working, and we are working together on something that I discovered in my family ancestry. My great-great-great-great-grandfather was a white farmer who emancipated my great-great-great-great-grandmother in a will, but his family challenged the will after he passed away, and Lucy had to make her way from Jacksonville, Florida, Illinois, and claim her freedom. And so this unpacking of what this story means and how it connects to what seemed like a random law practice, trust and estates litigation. I do will contests for a living. So why would I get that? Why would I fall into that? Because I needed to find this story that the ancestors were reaching to me to say, hey, it's the moment you need to tell this story. Up until the last few years, I was kind of wondering, why now? Why are the ancestors so insistent on telling us about their experiences? Obviously, the events that we are living through are proof positive that they knew and saw and were giving us a warning that it is time to reveal the stories of our past and our history and to try to heal from them as much as possible, and then to steel ourselves for the onslaught that we are facing, because all we can do is to continue to create and tell the stories and stand up in the face of erasures and attempts to pretend that we don't exist. So my mission is to bend the arc of history towards justice by sharing Lucy's story as widely as we can. That's part of why we're called the Arc Benders Collective. And so that's taken various forms. And just briefly, we're working on a musical, Lucy the Musical.
Everything should be a musical. That's what I think.
Yeah.
That's because we're gay.
I agree.
But music sticks in your ears. You know, I would drive around with our kids, and we have a favorite musical, you know, in the Heights or whatever. You drive around, you get used to it, you know it. You walk out, you in the middle of the night, somebody asks you what, you know, somebody starts singing to you 525,600 minutes. You connect to it. And so how can we create art that
They can't erase.
they can't erase, that is going to be in your DNA, that your children are going to hear you singing and humming, that the moms are going to sing when their babies are in bellies. And so 150 years from now, even if they've tried to tear down the National African American Museum,
Whatever they do, we want to create things that last the test of time and that stand on their own. And so, you know, like you say, they can't take away Motown. They can't take away the rhythm of, you know, like, dum, da, doo, doo. It's part of our DNA. So these projects will become part of the DNA of our nation culturally.
Wow, that's amazing to hear. I'm so inspired right now by this conversation.
Yay.
Terrence, Jeffrey, Tangelia, thank you so much for sharing. Is there anything else that you wanted to add for our viewers before we wrap up? Socials, where to find you, how to get in touch?
I'm on Instagram, Terry Franklin. I guess I'm on X, Terry Franklin, I think, and probably other places, LinkedIn.
I'm also on Instagram. You can find me under my friends call me Tangie. I do a lot of stand-up comedy, so if it was funny, it's because of me. No, I'm kidding. Everybody here is funny.
You can pay for it.
And I'm awesomely bodacious on Instagram.
Excellent.
Awesome. L is in the middle. It's like awesome, and then big L, 2 E's, awesomely bodacious.
Thank you so much for sharing with us and for your participation in Nukhufest. Be sure to watch and vote for Grandpa's Got a Brand New Pill on Nuku.com, and follow Jeffrey, Terrence, and Tangelia to learn more about their upcoming projects. Thank you again for joining us for this interview.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Sanjay.
Sanjay.
See you in New York.